And so where we see teams growing, usually all of them are like a concentration of them are in the same info session. And so we talked to Bob and Regina about this in the winter about coming together as the nucleus of this team to become unified, just learning about each other, getting some mindset and things that we probably won't cover in depth at like a larger team meeting, but we can do it on a smaller scale here. And so people who actually come to this are serious about the team dynamic and wanting to be an impact player on the team. Like I said, so we can therefore impact the Coleman team, which I don't know who said it. I forget who said it, but somebody was really adamant about putting the Coleman team on the map. And that's been like Calvin and I, Harold, Marquise, and Denise, that's been our battle cry for such a long time. And just bringing people onto that battle cry will help it be better. So before we get into the nitty gritty of everything, usually we like go around and have everybody introduce themselves. I think we all pretty much know each other here, but we do want to go around and say everybody's name for the benefit of people who don't know everybody's name. And then just tell one of your dreams that you're excited about hitting when you accomplish your goals in this business. So who wants to go first? Go ahead, Kavan.
My name is Kavan Matthews. I work in hospitality, with a hotel, and one of my dreams is just not working anymore, not working a 9-to-5 job, and just basically becoming free and to do whatever I want.
My name is Crochet Harvey. I'm personally sponsored by Matthews. I'm a clinical research coordinator. One of my goals that I'm excited to hit is, I know it should be like retirement for us, but like honestly, it's really just take my car off.
Awesome.
My name is Anaya Peters. Well, I work at a retail store, and what was the other?
It's a dream.
Dream.
Oh, okay. So one of my goals is to basically about my mother. I'm sorry.
Everyone has Miss Mark out with Roberts. One of my goals is I teach pre-K and pick up random strangers and drive them around. One of my goals is to be free, financially independent, and retire my mom.
Hi, I'm David. One of my goals is to spend more time with my kids.
My name is Roberts, first responsible here at Evans. One of my goals is to get free.
My name is Tyler Jackson. I work in retail at Dick's Sporting Goods, sponsored by Kavan Matthews. And my main goal with this opportunity is to definitely retire my mom fully and take care of all my mess so she never worry about.
James Drake. I work in the film and television industry, and my main goal is to be able to travel the world with
My name is Alicia Drake. I teach. One of my main goals is to retire my grandmother.
Shonda Carson. I work in the nonprofit sector with the neglected children. My boss is just, I'm surprised I even made it today. And my goal is to become financially independent and retire my parents.
Season Roberts, married to Calvin. We're sponsored by Uncle Bill Graves. Has everybody met Uncle Bill?
No.
You never met Uncle Bill?
Really?
You probably yeah.
He can call you a sap sucker and Uncle Bill was coming today, but he got caught up. He got stuff to do. But we're sponsored by my Uncle Bill Graves, Dr. Bob and Regina Coleman. And my ultimate goal is to set captives free. I think I stole that from Jake Baker, but that's what we want to do as a couple. And the only way we can do that is if we are financially free to help other people get financially free.
And Calvin Roberts saying, but yeah, my first goal is to get her free.
Hey.
And until we get her free, then all the other goals start kind of happening after that. So we start chasing those goals. So.
All right. Does everybody have a pen and a piece of paper? Mm-hmm. This is another icebreaker type game. So no. So just, I'm going to tell you what to jot down because my computer's not working where I can project this, so I apologize. So green equals favorite hobby. Brown equals favorite food. Blue equals favorite movie.
Green and brown, what?
Thank
Red equals favorite book. Blue is favorite movie. Yellow equals vice. Vice.
Vice.
Vice.
Vice.
V as in Victor, I-C-E. And yellow, I'm sorry, orange is anything. It's getting dark in here. Everybody know? When he stopped eating them, I knew you was eating them. Don't eat them. Who got one? Hey, who needs one? I was definitely about to thought eating them. You can eat it later. Mark, you can eat them. Okay. Nothing. Oh.
Can I go ahead and finish my first bet?
Again, we spend some time to get to know each other. So we're gonna go around the table. So you have all these. You should have colored M&Ms in your bag. And for each color, you have to share what you just wrote down on the paper. So for instance, if you have green and it's your hobby, for mine is reading, you have to share that. But if you have get another pack. I'll give you if you have more than one green or more than one orange or more than one yellow, you gotta share it that many times. So for instance, if you have 5 blues, you gotta tell us 5 different what was blue. Books or movies that you like.
Right, that's that.
Huh?
If you go red,
Oh, I got it. 4 vices. So like 4 advice.
A vice is like something that is bad for you, like chocolate. No, it's something that you, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, exactly.
Okay. Oh, y'all write it down?
You don't have to write it down. You can. I'm not gonna write mine down. That's okay. So I'll go first. I have 3 oranges, and so my favorite food is bread. Bread and bread. Okay, bread, pizza, and cheese. Sorry. I have 2 browns. Oh, okay, I did it backwards. 2 browns, bread and cheese. For my oranges, anything. Okay, I'm a germaphobe. I carry hand sanitizer in my purse and in my car. And I'm not touchy-feely, but I'll give hugs. And I have 2 yellows. My vices, I like to read spy novels. And if I could do it all day, I would, but I can't. And if you gave me a whole loaf of French bread, I would eat the whole loaf. So that was me. Who wanna go next?
Not potato bread?
I love potato bread. Oh my, don't talk about bread. I want some bread so bad. Hawaiian rolls,
Honey
honey potato bread. Yes, the honey wheat rolls. I mean, yeah, all of the yeast rolls. Shut it out.
I used to be like that, but I said you worse than me. I used to do toasted bread with butter all the time.
All day. I can eat that all day. All day.
So I got 3 reds. So that's favorite book, Green Eggs and Ham. The other book is Goosebumps. I don't know which one, but the series of Goosebumps is a nice book. And the last book is Goodnight Moon.
Oh my God! Right after my
That's like my best young book. And I can still remember. What I got? 2 Blues, favorite movie, scary movie series.
Okay.
And the Harry Potter series.
Okay.
And my greens, playing video games, and making music.
Okay.
So, and the vice, that's like a guilty thing. Like I don't know that.
Shay's like playing a video game.
I want to do something.
No, you don't have to. I'm just trying to
Going to the gym, I guess.
You said going to the gym?
Yeah.
That's your guilty pleasure?
Like at night.
Okay. Gosh, I want to be like King. Come on.
Okay, so I have 4 yellows. So okay. So one of my guilty pleasures is food. Like I love food. And then sweets. I love sweets. Like they're really bad for me, but I love sweets. Binge watching. Oh, I love to binge watch. Ice cream?
Okay. All that, it's like 4 foods, really.
Yeah, I love ice cream. My favorite movies. One is P.S. I Love You.
Yes.
And another one is Frozen.
What's that?
Okay, you can hang out with my daughter there. Frozen's one of her favorite movies.
Orange is anything. Okay, anything. Like I like to go to the gym with Kayvon, but I don't like to go to the gym because we go like super late at night.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You ate that. You ate that in there.
Oh, it's me?
Yep.
Okay. So I had for anything. One, I am a treat. You was writing mine.
I was writing everybody.
It's okay, yo. It showed up. Wow.
Team-minded. Team-minded.
But I like vampire movies.
Oh.
I love the color purple, and then also, like you said, I'm a person that like I can give hugs, but I'm not a touchy.
No wonder we hug kind of like this. We always do that.
She be complaining, but I'm not like, oh,
yeah.
hey. But my favorite movie I had, Blue. My favorite movie is Moana.
Oh.
And brown, I love pizza. Yellow, was white. I love chocolate and peanut butter.
Okay. Chocolate peanut butter excess bar. That's on me for Christmas.
So good.
Harold Jeffries is the second sponsor of college.
Oh my God.
I got one brown. Favorite food is macaroni and cheese.
The bake kind or like the box kind?
Oh, Chloe's kind.
Oh, excuse me.
That's the real reason why I like Chloe.
Okay. Is Chloe on? Did she get this?
Mac and cheese.
So macaroni and cheese is she's sick. She's not from the world.
Okay.
Macaroni and cheese is my favorite. But Favorite food, okay. Blue's favorite movie, Lion King. No hate. Favorite book, can I do two?
Yes.
Slight Edge and Master Key Rich. Those are really my favorite. Master Key Rich is always me. Vice, Vice. Game of Thrones.
We were just talking about that.
Yes. Yes.
Game of Thrones is a good movie. Yeah, show. The Walking Dead.
Really? You like zombie shows? Okay.
Oh,
I like the story in
season.
Come on, like yeah, you got that.
it. And Sleeping In.
Yeah.
Like, Sleeping In, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. And anything orange, I love producing music and creating.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Hi, I'm Danny. I had 1 red, 3 oranges, but I traded the orange for yellow because it's kind of like saying.
Oh my God.
So, my favorite book is The Dream Giver.
Mm-hmm.
My vices are food and when things don't go my way. And
Yes, Lord.
just telling you.
Yeah.
And orange, I'm a teacher and I have 2 kids.
What?
I had 2 oranges. One is Marquise. Batman, my favorite superhero.
Okay.
Getty's my favorite food. My vice would probably be I daydream too much.
Was that another one?
Blue, my favorite movie is gonna be
Batman.
and green. What's that? Favorite hobby? Video games. I was thinking shooting games, basketball,
Ghost
sports
Recon.
games.
Video game competition. Tyler up. Y'all interrupt this. Tyler, you up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler. I had 3 yellows. My yellows were video games.
Okay.
What's up with
video games?
And I love music.
Okay.
And then I had 3 reds. Hat in the Hat. See the connection. The Goosebumps.
Yep.
Goosebumps. And I actually liked that when I first came to the Boston, Rich Dad versus Poor Dad.
Okay.
That was
Fun.
and then
So
I
both of
got-
y'all like Goosebumps?
And then I got 1.
I didn't know that.
You got 1 orange?
And my orange was I love eating at buffets.
Oh wow. So we gotta have a party where we have video games, food, and music. I think that's
Next team huddle.
yeah, exactly.
The music alone is like,
Yeah.
yes.
And I'll be in the corner reading Goosebumps to everybody. So
I had 1 green. My favorite hobby is making movies. I had 1 blue. My favorite movie is Saving Private Ryan. I had 3 yellows. My vices, 3 of my biggest vices are YouTube. I watch way too much of it. Spending too much time trying to learn new stuff. And sleeping. And I had 4 oranges. I like playing music. I like to travel. I like to try different tech stuff.
all right, music thing.
Connection.
Connect. Next music group.
Yes. I had 2 reds. My favorite books are By the Light of My Father's Smile by Alice Walker and The Slight Edge. I had 1 blue. My favorite movie, it's more like a musical, but it's Hairspray.
What?
One of my vices for yellow is that I buy too many school supplies.
You don't even have to go. You already.
And I had 4 orange. So that was anything. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. I've been teaching for 8 years. My favorite color is purple, and I love Mustangs and motorcycles.
You have motorcycles. Okay.
Who's next?
All right. So I had a few because I had like 1.5 bags. So green, I had one of those that was dancing. I like to dance. Salsa, Afro-Cuban kind of dances. Brown, I got 2 of those. Italian food and Mexican food. Any kind of food really. Those are my favorites. Blue, I can't really name a favorite movie. Family is full of like movie buffs. We have favorite genres. Then we have top 3 or top 10 movies, but I don't have a favorite movie. Buck, Go-Giver, The Alchemist, and Born a Crime right now. It flips. So Born a Crime is a really good movie too. Vices, I had TV. I had reading, but that's not really a vice. I would say sleeping in and just getting caught on the internet searching stuff in general is one. And then for anything, I love traveling and just being with friends and family.
Yep. Go ahead.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So my bag was rigged. Because I have 6 yellows and 1 orange. So I have the name. I've been trying to think of 6 vices. My goodness. Let's see. So one of them would be, if I could, I would basically shut everybody out and stay in a studio in a room and play music. I'm talking about like 24/7. Like somebody bring me some food. I just lock me in there and I'll play music 24/7. Another vice. I don't know. Let's see. I kind of tend to, like James said, I can get on any subject and stay on that subject like an extremely long period of time. So I kind of get overwhelmed with trying to learn something. If I learn something, I tend to not just find a little information about it. I'll end up deep diving, and they say, I spend like hours in that one subject.
I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you.
I told you this bag was rigged. Now she's trying to find all my vices. That's what it is.
Hey, baby, this is yours.
You X-rayed the bag. You're like, take this one. What was that? 3? That was number 6, right? That was the 6th
that was the 3rd one.
That was the first one.
You're trying to take me all the way back. My goodness. Let's see. Another vice.
Want me to name one?
I guess another vice. I guess you could say. This will actually happen one day. But one vice is I will also shut the world out and just spend time with her. And like just. No, seriously. It could be a problem because you're kind of like, I don't want to deal with people right now. It's kind of hard to be like that in people business, right? You can't. But
He's talking about y'all.
No, I'm not talking about y'all family. No, that's different. That's different.
That's 4.
Nope. She counting. I don't know. I like spending time alone too. Like cycling. I like cycling. In case you didn't know, like road biking, cycling. So I can go and do that for like,
Mountain bike?
No, not mountain biking. No, but I can go do that alone for like hours if I could. Just traveling different routes and seeing new stuff on a bike. Love it. Oh, have mercy. So what's the other vice?
So y'all, there's this alter ego in Calvin's head that's very sarcastic. So
that's tame. That's very
right.
But
Harold might have experienced a little taste of that when he first got in business, but that's gone. Books are reading and associating, and then I got an orange. Which orange? Anything?
Anything. Yep.
I don't know. I like food, movie, books, and I have hobbies. I don't know. I like all types of food. I guess my favorite food would be, I don't know. I like Italian food, but I don't know. You can't say
and he makes the best homemade pizza. So if y'all ever come over, homemade pizza, dough and everything.
From scratch.
See, I didn't get none.
No.
she trying to
When we play heads up, the
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Denise.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Huh? What about Crash? That's not my advice.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right. So you done? Okay.
Y'all heard Crash Cut. Y'all missing out.
All right. We're gonna get into some content now. So, hey, but look. So this like Season explained it earlier, but this is real. Hang loose is not supposed to be meant like a team meeting per se. But we will go over some information, just some mindset stuff. Here is not where you're going to get a lot of mechanics teaching. We're not going to do a whole bunch of how-to, but we will do a lot of talking about mindset. So at the same time, if we're talking about something and you have a question about something that somebody is discussing, feel free to be like, I don't want to say like, we got teachers in here, raise your hand or just, maybe do that so you have a way we can acknowledge you and kind of, make sure your questions get answered. We want this to be kind of an open type of setting. So we do have kind of a flow here, things we're going to talk about, and we have a lot of people here that will be speaking. So, thank you. The first thing we want to really talk about is, of course, everybody understands that we are doing, using a process to build this business. It's a filtering process. It's a process to qualify people to earn mentorship. And so, everybody pretty much understands at this point, I believe, the steps in the process, because if you're sitting in here, more than likely you went through that process. And so, I think what we're going to talk about is some of the mentality behind the flow of that process. And I'm talking about starting from the very first thing that happens, and that's having a conversation with somebody, to MPA, to DTMing, to the MG1, all the way through a follow-up too. We're going to talk about some of that mindset. Actually, we're going to have a conversation a little bit between myself, Harold, and Marquise, just talking about a few of the things that I think are very important when it comes to this process and how it works effectively. And the first thing I say is this: when you're taking anybody through a process, even start with a conversation, I think the biggest part of your mindset that you can grab onto and make sure it's a strong part of what you're doing is to realize that, and it's a confidence thing, to realize that you actually have something other people want. You have to walk around, I'm talking about no matter if you're at work, you know what I mean, if you're at school, wherever you are, you have to walk around and think, I have something people want, and okay, some of the people you talk to, they're not the ones who want it, if they're giving you some backlash, you're not connecting, but it starts with your confidence there. And, and you ask, so what is it do I have that they want? You're connected to people. If you want to talk about Bob and Regina, putting their 5 kids through college and being financially independent, or Terry and Lori Taylor retiring in their early 20s, or late 20s, to anybody on the LTD team, for real, if you want to think about it. You have access to all of that, and that should kind of help you to boost yourself up confidence-wise, I used to hear Mike, I can't remember if it was Mike Bundy or Joe Markowitz. I think it was Joe Markowitz used to talk about having, when he goes somewhere and talk to somebody, he would think about who has his back. So he would think about Larry, he would think about Danny and all those guys, Danny Snipes and all them. He would say, hey, when I'm talking to people, I'm thinking about these are the guys I'm connected to. And so that's an automatic confidence builder, And so you think about who you connected to versus who you're talking to. And sometimes I know that helped me early on, because I used to have people that try to eat your lunch, if you will, or people that you just try to figure out, well, what's happening here? Why are we not connecting? It's because either A, you probably are not exuding the confidence for real, to think about, hey, this is what I really got my hands on. Or number two, it's just that person they're not connected. They don't want what you have. And that's fine, But I think the mindset really starts there. It starts with having that strong attitude. It's kind of almost like a swagger, right? You almost kind of walk around with this little swagger, not being arrogant, you know what I mean? But the swagger is like, hey, look, there's people who I know who can help you become financially independent, who help you become, if you want to be a mom, a stay-at-home mom, or, retire your parents, or whatever it is, I know people that can help you do that. The question is, do you want to get access to those people? I think starting off with that type of attitude in this process will kind of give you a leg up or being in the right mind frame when you start that conversation or that, you know, if you're MPN, DTM, or going to do the MG1. I think that's a good start off. So what we kind of spin into is, and I asked maybe Harold to talk about this a little bit, but just because after you've gotten that swag, or even if you're building that up, because I'm not going to say you had that coming in the door. We don't. None of us do. You know, all of us come in the door, and you might still be thinking like, okay, I'm trying to myself grasp and understand the magnitude of what this really is. You know, because a lot of us, we came in, and it probably wasn't until some of you can say probably your first major conference that it probably hit you right, that you was like, oh man, this is way bigger than I thought it was. You know, and that's another reason why we have people come to conferences, because they can see things on that scale and realize, man, this is way bigger than me. This is way bigger than just Bob and Regina, who I'm connected to, or the team I'm trying to build. This is huge. You know, you walk out of a conference with even that attitude. So as you build that up, one of the things that's going to help you is to get into the practice of having conversations. So I'm going to ask Harold. So Harold, if you can like talk just for a minute or two about the importance of consistency, like people's consistency in getting out and talking to people.
One of my favorite audios is called Diamond Roundtable. In that audio, Matt Global talks about digging for rocks. He said it was a pile of rocks, and it was like 6 diamonds under the rocks, but it was small rocks. He said, would you be more focused on the pile of rocks, or would you be more focused on the diamonds underneath? And most of the time, you focus more on the diamonds underneath, and that's sort of an outcome-focused mentality. But he talks about sponsoring people as if you're digging rocks. You're just moving rocks, and you're looking for the diamonds that are underneath. So the purpose of consistency is, if you're digging rocks and you're moving rocks, how long do you want to wait to find that diamond that's underneath? Consistency not only speeds, it looks like you're speeding up the pace, but you're actually more consistent than other people. Some people will go for a week and stop, go for another 2 days and stop. So they're behind time when you just steady going forward. And you keep that consistent attitude, and you keep reading, listening, and you keep action going. And what it does is push you ahead of those that have failure, temporary failure, and quit. And also build your confidence. I think that's one of the main things. Because not only are you comfortable with talking to people or comfortable with getting out there and getting out of your comfort zone, but you can see the finish line that much clearer. So, in a sense, if you're moving rock, and you move like a pile of rock, and you see, okay, I've been through these piles, so I know I got to be closer to the right people or the right diamonds that's at the bottom, closer to the finish line. But if you stop and go in the house, or you just say, okay, I'm gonna get to it when I get to it, that prolongs your destiny. One of the things that I have to constantly remind myself of is that I've already won. And all I'm doing is living in the future of me already having won. I have already won. So I'm just trying to figure out who's going to be winning. And when you remind yourself of that every day, every single day matters, every single minute matters. It matters to you because you know you've already won. I know each and every one that's at this table, if you want to, you can claim your platinum. However, you got to go out every day like, I am a platinum. I hear Daniel Snyder talk about that all the time. And he said, I am a rookie, I am a rookie. That's when he was 1,000 PV. So if you believe in what you have, that means you go from, okay, you start at believing what you have. You believe in the opportunity, LCD, you believe in your upline. But I had to get to a point where I started believing in myself, and I believed that I have what I said I would have. So that's a little bit about faith and just a mindset of, hey, I'm out here. Tyler, we had a conversation today, right? So when do you mind me asking him about the conversation? Okay. So Tyler has been consistent. Tyler seems to know every single day about hey, I talked to this person, how did this conversation, how would you respond to this conversation? But I asked Tyler, like, Tyler came to me and said, hey, I beat you today. But what he was excited about was the fact that he was consistent since he got started and kept that consistency. So when he met that person, what did you say? I don't want to take it out your words, but when you had that conversation, what did it feel like?
It's like talking to the end person that where I'm working, conversation with. And then it took me like figuring out he was an old coworker, so it made me feel better than just into the flow of the conversation.
Right. And having all those other conversations, some of them went great, some of them didn't go so well. But having all those other conversations as you develop consistency, would you say that conversation was hard or was it a flow? Did you realize some of the words that was coming out your mouth and how you was making connections?
A little bit. A little bit I was realizing what I was saying, but once he did that, I'm like, how many more? I just told him the truth. Told him about what I got into and everything, and he just started asking me to go by it. And at that point, it was just even better conversation. It was regular. This is what I got into. And like, let me get your number. I'll get explain more over the phone. I was telling you about what I got into. So I got down his number, and it was just nice to catch up with him. That was the main thing. But other than that, I also got the DTM as well.
So, in a sense, what if he was just not consistent and hadn't had that flow already for that right person to show up? I believe that God puts people in your path. I believe that God puts people in your path at the right time because He blesses the work that you've already done. He doesn't bless the work that you're doing. He blesses the work that you've done. So a lot of people are working and want to see the result. It don't happen like that. Especially in business. It happens on the back end. All the seeds that you sow at that time were for that specific time. All the people that went through the process and failed and went through the process and failed, it was for that specific time for a reason to build up your strength. So when that right person comes in, you're already there. You're ready to receive that person. So that's what's important about it.
No, I was about to say, every time you say that, it reminds me of you being there.
There you go. Exactly. So had I not, first of all, had I quit, I wouldn't even say that word, but had I gave up, my dream, and I met Eric a year ago, okay, if I met Eric again and he said, hey, you Harold, right? I would have lost an opportunity to not just build my business if I took it selfishly, I would have lost an opportunity to add a partner to me. But thinking exponentially, we would have lost this.
How many people, if you don't mind, are in that one leg from Eric?
It's 6 now. It's 6 individuals now from that one conversation a year ago. And had I not had that conversation a year ago, who's to say this would have been the right time? Everything happens for a reason, and what we can't do is pick moments. We can't pick moments. We have to say, okay, every moment matters, and I'm gonna make sure I'm in front of this moment and not let the moment come. I was listening to Mark Nathan. I think it was Mark Nathan, and he was saying that, oh no, it was Meredith. He said, good things come to people that wait. But it's only the things that's left by the people that went after. It's only the good things come to those that wait. But it's only what's left after the people that have gone before and that went that extra mile to get the great. So, that's why you stay consistent. And it's not about doing a whole lot all the time. It's about leveling up. So if you're at a level where you're comfortable, get uncomfortable. And stay uncomfortable for a long period of time and string moments together. So, consistency is the main thing about the business. And the more you get out of your comfort zone and go that extra mile, it works. So,
what's up? I mean, you're right. That's one of the things that we always look at is what you just talked about is how all of that came from a conversation you had a year ago. But I think what a lot of people miss is they start looking at because you weren't thinking about Eric that whole year period of time.
I forgot him, actually.
Yeah, and it's because you were having so many conversations after that, right? That he was basically thought from. I mean, it was like he's out of thought. I don't even think about him no more. We just continue having conversations, but is what he said. I don't. Sometimes you have to have that mentality to actually know that I'm planting seeds every time I talk to somebody. Every time I talk to somebody, I'm planting a seed, regardless of what the outcome is or not. You know, some people might circle around like that and circle back and run into you or hit you up and ask you what you're doing now. Hey, you still, what area ask you, like, are you still doing that? You still got your business, you still under that mentorship? You know, you never know when people are going to do that, you know? So it's not, even though you have the attitude of, I got something people want, remember, never have the attitude of like looking down on people because they don't want to take part of what you have, or acting like people don't want to pursue their dreams because they're not getting involved with the mentorship we have. Never look down on people like that because a lot of it is timing. Some of it is simply that. It's just timing. You know, and you continue to be cordial with those people. You see them again. You continue to have conversations with them. You know, and you never know when that time frame would be when somebody's going to be like, man, they're always nice every time I run into them, or to be able to just ask that question like Harold said, for somebody to come back and say, hey, are you still getting that? You still that mentorship you were talking about, and you say, oh, no, I ain't doing that no more. You talking about the thing I told you about? Oh, no. Wow. So don't look at your time frame to say, oh, I've been having conversations. Is what he talked about the consistency. Don't look at it and say, I've been having conversations for 2 months and nothing's happened yet. Or I've been having conversations for 3 months and nothing's happened yet. There is always a breaking point. Always. And from his consistency, you got a leg that's 6 deep. How much work did it take for you for that leg to go 6 deep after? Because you put in a lot of work doing conversations. Mm-hmm. Like, in comparison, the workload of your conversations compared to the workload of you taking that leg 6 deep. Was it a heavier workload in your conversations or in taking that leg 6 deep?
Heavier load
in the conversation.
And that actually developed me to be able to be successful with helping new people start.
Yeah, it's the benefactor of that workload of the conversations was the fact that he had a leg that was, and this leg went 6 deep quick, right? I mean, we talking about the first part of this year, from January essentially, from the first part of this year. So things your turnarounds can happen quick. You know, you have this one conversation, you know what I mean, and it leads to all of a sudden a ton of other people getting a business. So things here, yeah, the consistency part is very important, and that consistency leads to you start to even detect things in candidates. So I'm gonna talk about like a little bit of things you want to even start having the mindset to look for in people that you're talking to, because as you're building up conversations and you start like trying to figure out, okay, so I'm having these conversations and I'm even getting better at having conversations. I'm getting better at asking the right questions. I'm getting better at, connecting with people and, you know, meeting on common ground. Now, you know, it's almost like, well, what do I even look for in the other people I'm talking to, you know, when I'm starting to get to the point to MPA them, to possibly DTM them. And I'll tell you this, there's one thing that you cannot control that happens while you're having a conversation with people, and that's the fact that James Alicia will talk about this probably a little later, that people actually are looking for an opportunity like this before you talk to them. Mm-hmm. You have to remember that when you're saying hi to somebody, if I'm in line with you at the grocery store, you know what I mean, and I'm just saying, hey man, what's going on? You know, my immediate thought is like this: no matter what I say to him right now, you know, no matter what is happening, there's nothing I could have done to make him get attracted to the mentorship I have access to. Either he was already looking for something like this before I talked to him, or he wasn't. Period. End of story. And once I have that mindset under my control, it kind of relieves me or kind of frees me a little bit to relax. You know what I mean? Let me just talk to him. Let me find out about this guy. Let me connect with him. Let me investigate and find out, you know, where are you from, man? You know, I'm just going to find out stuff about him, you know? And if he's looking for something, you know, I start looking, and when I say what you look for in a candidate, what I'm talking about is this. If I get to the point where I can MPA somebody, now I'm looking at, you know, how they respond to me. Body language, you know, there's nonverbal and verbal communication, right? So sometimes people say stuff to you, they'll give you like the oh wow, you know. I'm looking at is the oh wow like a with body language like oh wow, that's fantastic, you know, or is it more like a oh wow. Okay. Well, well I like the other day you kind of like but they said oh wow, now you have to start learning how to look at inflection, body language, that type of stuff. So you be able to start reading candidates, you know what I mean, to tell the person you're talking to, even when you MPA them, are they giving you the type of response where they're almost like leaning into you? Like, hey, I need to know who you connected to, you know, because you guys agree, right? If you MPA anybody, you know it's not always straightforward. Mm-hmm. People don't always come back at you and say, I don't think I've had anybody come back and just be like, really, mentorship? I want mentorship. Can I actually get your number and you actually connect me to the people you just told me about, so we can sit down. Has anybody ever? Yeah. Nothing else I want to say.
I'd be looking around.
Yeah. You're like somebody punking me. Is this a? Yeah, but you never have that. So it's a thing of starting to develop the skill set of reading into how candidates respond. I asked Marquise maybe for a minute to talk about what are some things, Marquise, that you've seen or looked at when you MPA, and it kind of makes you be like, okay, I think this person is a person I can continue talking to possibly DTM.
Always one first thing I always look at is like their body language to see if like if something they kind of got energetic when they said it, like they said something they might have said. Even if they say like little things, they say, oh, that's something I was always looking for, or that's something I was already looking for, I was already working towards. Like triggers like that definitely kind of adds more towards the DTM. And just see like people just eagerness. For me, if I don't have one thing, I also see if I don't have to dig too hard, and people just kind of willing to share like something they wanted to accomplish. That's one of the triggers for me as far as going for the DTM as well.
Okay, and I think that it makes it even easier too because you can once you start picking up those signals, body language, verbal communication, how people act like that, it helps you when you walk away from a conversation to keep your confidence. Because if you walk away from a conversation, you start trying to think, what did I do wrong? Automatically it's going to pull down your self-image. It's going to pull down your confidence. It's going to pull down. You're going to start thinking, man, I should have. And don't get me wrong, it's things that we walk away from conversations and sometimes have said, oh, I should have said this to him. Even then, you have to remember, I'm practicing. That's just for the next conversation. Let me remember that next. It's another conversation. You know what I mean? I don't know about anybody else's area. I know area just in Virginia Beach alone, it's like 450,000 people, almost 500,000 people in Chesapeake, and those are two just neighboring cities. So if I think about it, there's 1 million people in these two cities. I'm getting hung up over this one conversation I had with this one person that I should have said blah, blah, blah to, but I messed up. Practice. Next. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. There's 1 million people, and you're really only looking for 6 who want to build a long-term asset and want to go play. But Harold, isn't it? But look, I mean, you know what? He's acting like that because when it changes your swagger when you do that. It makes you be able to walk away from conversations and be like, this is not that big of a deal that I messed this one up, or I didn't mess it up. Shoot, I did all I could, But when you walk away, you say, well, all I'm looking for is like 6 people who want to. What's a diamond? 6 platinum legs, right? I'm just looking for 6 people who want to go platinum. How many is it going to take for me to do that? I don't know, but I'm going to keep digging and searching until I find them. So, but I think as you develop the skill set of starting to read people's body language and all that when you're having conversations at DTM, and we're talking about more so from a standpoint of your confidence and your business posture and your self-image staying strong. You know what I mean? And that's to know, hey, I'm not, you can continuously talk to your coach about what you're doing so they can help you to tweak things. But it's walking away and saying, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. I had this conversation. You know what I mean? I learned about this person. I got a chance to talk to them, but they didn't connect. Oh, well, you know what I mean? Next conversation, let me go do another one. That's another reason why consistency is important. So, but as you start reading out, one of the things I tell you is this. I'll talk about for a second. Another thing you look for in candidates that can help you. These are kind of cues that can help you to get to a point where you can MPA people. And James and Alicia, they've been doing an awesome job with Marquise and Denise and doing a lot of. We've been doing all of us been doing a lot of huddle playing together. Or finding some of these cues in conversations to help you kind of guide the conversation to MPA people. And that's one of the biggest things is, because granted, you're not going to always have people that ask you, what do you do? Have y'all noticed that? You get in conversations with people and they don't always say, well, what do you do? Because you got a lot of people who love to talk about themselves. And if you let them, they'll talk about themselves, from morning to night. You be standing there for an hour and they still just, yeah, and I did this, and we did that, and the family's doing this, and I went to school here, and, and my son is doing, and you almost like, in your head, you're almost like, yeah, You smile, kids like, and they're just talking, and you're like, okay, I don't know if I'm an MPA, but this conversation shows, you have those people, so, but for people who even do that, and they don't give you anything, what I mean is they don't ever ask you, what do you do? Sometimes you can start listening for stuff. If people, when I say stuff, when I'm talking about problems people have that they need this business to solve. Hey, I've been trying to find a way, because I'm just so tired of these school loans right now. My mind goes bing, bing, when they say, man, me and my husband always dropping these kids off at the daycare. It's just getting to be, that's really a heavy burden on our finances. Bing, bing. I mean, I'm finding cues because I want to learn how to start asking questions, to find out, are they looking for a solution to that? Because you have two really groups of people. You got people who just want to complain to you, and you have people who are talking to you, but they really are looking for a solution. They really probably that morning was praying like, Lord, if you can give me a way to get out of these school loans, if you can give me a way to, where I can pay for my kids' college, if you can give me a way, please, just to be able to not have to worry about the financial emergencies that pop up every month. They're praying for this, but if you're listening to them and having conversations, don't always just look for, my point is, your mentality should be, I'm just not always looking for people to ask me what I do. I'm also looking for things that this business can solve. What are problems that pop up in people's lives that I can be a help to them? I have, again, remember, it starts with that swagger. I have something people need, and I have something that can help people. I have something that can help them. Now, whether they want to take the help or not, that's up to them. That's out of your control. This business is all about doing the things you can control, not, trying to make people. So if you have somebody who says that, hey, I think you had a conversation when somebody was talking about they want to go back to school. She want to go back to school to get her PhD, and she's just talking about she's working these two different, jobs. I'm sorry if I'm getting conversations mixed up. There's so many of them. But you listen for stuff like that, you kind of like, okay, hold on. And it works a little different if you're not texting somebody, if you're talking face to face. That's a practice thing to get quick on your feet about that. But you hear that stuff and you try to find ways to, either tell stories, hey, that's crazy. You talking about being out of college debt. Hey, I was the same way. You empathize with people. I was the same way. Me and my wife was up to our ears in college debt. But, man, crazy thing happened to us a couple weeks ago. We met this couple, a couple years ago, whatever you want to say, whatever your story is. We met this couple. They paid for all 5 of their kids' private school and college education. And being that far in debt, I was like, who does that? I never heard anybody doing that. You know what I mean? Even if you're talking like that, people who are really serious about trying to resolve the issues, right, should be like, what? I need that type of help too. So I guess what we're just saying is having that mentality, and we'll move on, we're about to move on to something else, but having that mentality of just, okay, you're confident, because you know what you got your hands on, and you build that confidence as you continue to have conversations. You be consistent, in your conversations, which means you continue. Yes, like Harold said, it's going to be uncomfortable. That's what this business is about, is getting outside, living outside of your comfort zone, right? So I don't know if James was the same way, but I was like, I did not like talking to people if I didn't have to. If I didn't have to talk to you, and I almost didn't want to talk to you even if I was in your line at the grocery store. I'm like, I used to be like, just ring my groceries up, please. Don't want to talk, So I didn't want to talk to people. That's a thing where you have to live outside your comfort zone and be like, okay, I have to intentionally go talk to people, because you have a choice. If you're at a gas pump, the gal, girl, couple on the other side of the gas pump, you have a choice to talk to them or not, right? Nothing changes in your life. Well, something does change. You don't hit your goals. But my point is, nothing changes from an aspect of you walking away from that gas pump. You're not really penalized, So you're in line at a grocery store. You can choose that day. Ain't nobody standing around you. You know what I mean? Come on, Harold ain't gonna be like, I saw you over there in that line, bro. Why you ain't talk to him? You know what I mean? Ain't nobody. Yeah. he watching you from around the corner. He like, come on, why you ain't talk to him? You know. I mean, but for real, that's what you're an independent business owner, right? So you're in many situations where because I've been there. I'm talking from a guilty party. I've been there, standing in places and be like, I can talk to him. I can talk. I don't feel like it. I can talk. Hey, I don't even know what to say. You know, I'm like, just say something. You know what I mean? You're a minute, you just like, just say something. And then next thing you know, they walking away, and you're like, yeah. you pep talk. You try to have a pep rally with yourself. Yeah. I mean,
it's Paul Kopecky who said, "Get comfortable with being."
Yeah, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Make that a daily thing. Like, how can I get uncomfortable today? I'm going. Yes, I don't want to do this, but I might be shaking. You know. I've been waiting until I'm not going to tell the story right now. The first guy I talked to. No, I'm waiting. I think
I never heard it.
You heard it. You definitely heard it, Denise. So I say this because the first time I ever, this is I guess the first real, when I say real conversation, I'm talking about past high. You know. I mean, which is, if that's where you got to start at, because you don't say nothing to anybody, start there, yes. But I'm talking about, this is the first conversation past the hi, how you doing, how's the weather. So I was going to go talk to this guy. I had just come out of a store in the mall. I think I was in Greenbrier Mall. I'm talking to y'all like y'all from down here. Some of y'all know what it is. But anyway, I just came out of the store, and this guy was, I went over to GNC, which is right beside there. You know what I mean? And it was this guy I was going to talk to. I was like, okay. The funny part about it, there was nothing about this guy. I just picked him. It was like any, meeny, miny, mo. I'm going to talk to him, you know, because I had to talk to somebody. And so I was like, I did exactly that. Sitting in the store, okay, I'm going to talk to him. You know, I'm almost like, if Tyler was the guy, I'm almost like this. I'm like, I'm going to talk to him. I guess I'm going to say, I don't know what to say. Man. You know, and you know what? I think he must have seen me at some point, you know what I mean? And so I talk myself so much. He didn't leave the store. I left the store. I talked myself right out the store. I walked right out in the hallway of the mall, right? And then I'm like, no, go talk to him. And so I turn around, and as I turn around to go talk to him, he's coming out the store. And so that's why I said he must have seen me, because like when I was walking up to him, I said, hey sir, how you doing? And he was like, I mean, this dude is like, think about The Rock. That's how big this dude was. And so he's like peering down. It's like he's staring through my soul. He said, yeah? I was like, you know, she like, did you talk to somebody today? Yeah, I did. I talked to somebody, you know, I sure did. But you just like, your confidence gets built. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that again. It was uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable. You know, I think I picked him because he was the most intimidating person. And he was. I remember that's the reason why I picked him. I was just like, okay. But the point is, you have to get uncomfortable. You know, and you have to increase your level of uncomfortable. Because you might get to a point where you're talking to people, and you're talking to people. Trevor, if you listen to, I forgot, it's not the Phases. Is it the Phases audio? I think it's that when he was talking about, because sometimes you'll talk to people who are at your ambition level. You'll get there. And you'll talk to people that you'll look at and think like, okay, I can connect with them because they look like, or they seem like they're on my level. But when you start like, you know, I remember the first time trying to talk to somebody who looked like they were an admiral in the Navy. You know what I mean? That's a totally different ball game. I'm kind of like, you gonna listen to me, you know, how am I dressed? But you continue to get out your comfort zone. Because you know what? Once you keep reminding yourself through the audios, the books, which is what we're moving to next, and associating, your confidence, your belief will go up, and you'll start realizing, I don't care, and this is my thing now, I don't care what you do for a living. You're a CEO of a company, you do not have the diamond lifestyle. I don't care if you're a CEO of 5 companies. If you are a multi-million-dollar investor, you don't have the diamond lifestyle. I don't care what you're doing, you do not have the diamond. Do you have time and money? No. So I have something, I have access to something you don't have. So I don't care what level of a corporation you are, or what background you got, or what car I see you driving, or how well dressed you look. You like you got on a $5,000 suit. I don't care. If you ain't doing what we doing, you ain't got the lifestyle that the people I know got. So therefore, I can offer you something. And you got to remember that it's people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, thousands of dollars a year already, and they are never see their family. They might be divorced. Their kids might not know them. You know what I mean? They stressed out. They about to have a heart attack because they're working 100 hours a week. Can you offer them something? Yes. They don't have time. They might have money. They might not be financially independent for that, for that moment. But so, and that's another thing. So that kind of segues away to the next thing I kind of want to talk about, and that's being mentally strong. Because I think all of those things help you to gain your mental strength, and doing an activity like that helps. But doing that activity is going to be pointless if you don't, on the back end, read, listen to audios, and associate. After a while, being out there, living in your comfort zone, you're going to get sucked up and pushed back into your old ways, your old habits. So one of the first things I'm going to do is, because one of the first things you have to remember, before we'll talk about the reading the audios and associating, but is having a why. You got to remember, like, when you're out there, I got to have a why. I got to have a reason why I'm doing this. I got to remember why I'm doing this. If it's, retiring your grandmother or your father or a relative, you got to ask, is the person I'm about to talk to, are they, more important? Are they worth it? Are they worth this conversation I'm about to have? Is my wife's freedom worth this conversation I'm about to have? Yes. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. But I want to read something. I don't know if some of y'all have probably ever seen or read this book, The Compound Effect. It's an awesome book. It's kind of a parallel to Slight Edge. So it's kind of like the Slight Edge, reads a little different. But I'm going to read something. He talks about having a why. Actually, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Read just the last paragraph. It says, so what is your why? You've got to have a reason if you want to make a significant improvement in your life. And to make you want to make the necessary changes, your why must be something that is fantastically motivating to you. And so he's basically saying, if you want to make improvements, if you want to actually stay on the track of reading, listening, and associating, and getting out your comfort zone and talking to people, you got to have a why that's like not important to nobody else, not like overwhelmingly fantastic to anybody else, but to you it is. And you got to keep that in the forefront of your mind and remember that. So if you got to go, you've got to want to get up and go for years. So what is it that moves you the most? Identifying your why is critical. What motivates you is the ignition to your passion, the source to your enthusiasm, and the fuel to your persistence. This is so important that I made the focus. Well, he's talking about another book, but I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna read the whole chapter. But basically, he's saying like your why is your fuel. That's your. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna go another day. I'm gonna go another day. A lot of people, the reason why they will tend to stop building this business is not because it's a simple business, right? We all agree it's pretty simple. What do? We buy our own products and we teach other people how to do the same thing. That's not why people stop building a business. They stop building a business because in the pursuit of mental toughness and building that up, they forget why they're doing it, and they just they take the road of least resistance. I'm just gonna go get a better job. Oh, I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna get a second job. I'm gonna save up some. I don't know. They try to find other ways to go because the more you keep pressing forward, the more resistance you feel. Is a reason to keep pressing forward, but you have to remember, why am I doing this? And sometimes you got to remember the things you don't want to happen. You know what I mean? It's not so much always just, why do I want to do this, but what do I not want to happen in my life? I don't want for us, sometimes we talk about, I've seen my grandmother and her grandmother be in nursing homes and how they were treated and the things that happened to them. And we know all of our grandparents have passed away. And we look at our parents now, and we have an opportunity to support them in ways that our parents couldn't support their parents. And so sometimes I look at things that I don't want to happen. I'm like, my parents are getting older, and I'm kind of like, I don't want them to approach an age where they need some type of physical or health assistance, and I don't have the finances to be able to properly support them. You got to refinance a house just to take care of your parents. So I don't want to be in that position. I understand our parents did what they had to do, but sometimes it's looking at that why has to be so deeply rooted in you, you know what I mean? And it'll grow. It'll grow and change. Everybody, Bob talks about he started off just wanting to pay off Visa and MasterCard, but he stuck around long enough for that why to grow. How does that why grow? You associate. You get around other people. Sometimes you hear about things that you didn't even know were possible. the first time I heard about people living financially independent and not working a job, you know, at first when I first heard this, I'm thinking about, okay, yeah, we can pay off our student loans pretty fast. That's cool, you know. But I'm like, y'all, the husband and the wife don't work. That's possible. Some people you're talking to right now just don't know what's possible. They don't know what's possible. So your why will continue to grow, but you have to keep that in the forefront of your mind if you want to continue to do the things it takes to get mentally strong, to get mentally fortified, to get resilient. So, and there's some people that's on track for doing that right now. They already have grown from the time they've got in business up to now, and I'm gonna have them talk for a little bit. They're probably like, "Who are we?" I don't think they talked about it already. Oh, somebody said we're gonna stop and do a door prize. Thank you. My mouth didn't try something.
Go ahead. Let me see. You got the ticket. So did everybody get a ticket? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The first, and then I'm gonna find out the last 3 digits. 620.
Who's me?
Last 3.
Yeah, 620. Am I saying what?
620.
Yes.
Oh my God! Oh, fuck.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. The next one is last digit again, 625.
I picked up, man.
I'm gonna take it.
Which did them get?
A man cave.
Oh, yeah.
Portable man cave.
Portable man cave.
Hey.
All right, babe. You got to look.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess y'all can pick which order you want to go into, but who wants to start? But anyway, so we're just talking about people now where you can actually grow your mindset, because I think that's the thing that's going to help you again to keep yourself moving forward and learning the skill sets and staying consistent. So in building your mindset, we're going to have these 3 people talk about how they've been influenced by reading, listening to audios, and associating. So we have Crochet Harvey, Kavon Matthews, and Anaya Peters, and whichever one of y'all want to come on, so you go first. So just talk about a little bit how through your reading audios and associating, your mindset has grown and why you've stayed connected, because you've been Harold's been talking about how well you've stayed connected to those 3 things. So just talk about it a little bit.
Okay. The audios is like one of my favorites. I think that's what really is helping me. Also with the book as well, but the audios, since I connect with like what's his name, Mark Nathan, so much that it's like he is like developing an extra mindset with the one I have of like, you know, just going out there talking to people. Like everyone is equal almost. Everybody just has a different stature of what they do. But I just like, while I'm making connections, I talk to everybody, no matter who it is and what they do. Like I talk to my managers, I talk to the CEO. I randomly just message him. Talk to a couple people that I know that's above me, like mentally wise, but not really. But I just contact everyone because, you know, I don't think you should be afraid to talk or start conversation with people regardless of what they do. And the book helps me. The books. Reading the books help as well. They help me, like, you know, come up with like certain ways to have conversation, and also they gave me like certain literature, like words that I really don't use on average or daily day. And also what was the other line?
Associated. Like coming to info sessions, team meetings, conferences.
Oh yeah, those are big. Yeah. Conferences, just having Harold around and stay around is like the biggest influence to keep my mindset where I want to keep it. Because sometimes I start leaning on to being resistant, but it's like having Shay around also in the business keeps me on that line, and then having Harold and also you guys and then the info sessions, it just keeps me on track.
Can I ask you a question? So I'm not asking you what it is, but I'm just asking you have life going on outside of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have everything's not just like cut and dry and just perfect, and you have life going on, right?
Yeah.
Well, so what makes you stay consistent with those things in spite of that?
Just trying to get my family like out of where the predicament they're in, and a better life than what it can be, what I know it can be.
Okay. So you have a why.
Yeah.
You have a reason. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna go next.
So for me, I feel like the audios and the books and everything, I feel like they just simplify the business. Because I have a tendency to like overthink a lot of things and like to kind of just overthink everything and make things a little more hard than it really should be. And just like especially talking to associations, talking to Harold, especially talking to Harold, but listen to the audios, listening to more of like the mindset instead of the technique kind of things. It all just kind of helps me to simplify things and just to know that it's not as hard as I'm making it. Just make connections, talk to people. Like, so you can talk to 6 people. Talk to 6 people, see who want to go. See who want to go partner with you. And that's it. Like, it just helps to kind of keep me going. So I don't be like, oh, yeah, I have a lot going on outside of life, like everybody else. And, just to kind of keep my business as simple as possible, it definitely helps.
So, how often do you communicate with Harold? Like on a weekly basis?
Like on a weekly basis? On a weekly basis, I try to do like a daily basis, but I really do feel like it is a daily basis. Like if I don't call Harold, sometimes he'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" So, it's just like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, weekends. I think maybe I may like go maybe a day without talking to Harold. So almost every day.
I think that's one thing that's vital when you because we talk about that right to people in the process when they're going through like communicating at least 3 to 5 times a week, and hearing her talk, you see how important that can actually be. We don't just say that to people because we want to talk to you 3 to 5 times a week, but it gives Harold gauge where your mindset is, but like you said, it helps you to not overthink so much.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to somebody who can help you simplify. That's the whole purpose of having a coach. So, all right, cool. Okay. You said what? What'd you say?
Quotable verb.
I didn't hear what you said.
MG1, right? Just laying out quotes. I don't know if I came up with it. Harold just.
I said success to earn that.
Oh, okay.
What's the other one though?
How you gonna try to put him on the spot with quotes?
Oh my gosh.
All right, now.
So I feel like books, audios, and associations, I feel like what it helps with everyone is because everybody gets in the function of their business, like they feel like they're not motivated or it's just something that's too complicated when it's really not. But when you start associating with other people or listening to audios and reading books, then you feel like, oh, okay, so they can do it. I can do it too. And I feel like that's the main important thing because it keeps you on track. Because I've been frustrated multiple times, and I've seen them go through it, and I know everybody goes through it. So I feel like that keeps you consistent and doing everything that you need to do.
So I'm trying something good, but that was good. I mean, because I think Harold's been talking about the 3 Eric too. He's not here, but got caught up at work. But talking about just being having that consistency, y'all have. And I can say this probably about everybody that's in this room, because there's people who are not here. And generally, people who don't show up to stuff like this is probably because they're not doing those things, especially the reading and the audios, because that stuff, nobody knows you're doing it. It's just like having conversations, right? Nobody knows whether you got in your car and decided to turn on the audio versus music, or, you know, if you've been listening to the radio or somebody's talk radio. Nobody knows if you're making that switch, you know. But long term, it'll show up. Because what's going to happen eventually is life is going to hit you. You know, we can only juggle but so much at one time, right? You know, but I love how Trevor Baker says it. You know, priorities basically are relative. So it's almost like you choose what a priority is. You know, and you do that through. By the time you start listening to audios and books, you start saying, okay, this is the most important thing right now. I need to get locked to this because this is going to solve. You can focus on all the other problems in the list, or you can focus on the thing that solves all the problems in the list. And sometimes people's not willingness to like read, listen, and associate makes them fall back into focusing on the problems on the list. You know what I mean? So you get into this thing, like you talk about, you get into a funk, and you start thinking like, oh man, I got to put out this fire. I got to put out this fire. I got to handle that. Oh man, I like something LaShonda said to us one time. The analogy is like you got holes in your boat, and you trying to plug all the holes up. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, look, I just need to jump off and get on somebody else's boat for right now. You know what I mean? Until, you know, bump that boat. Right? I'm going to let this boat sink for right now. I'm going to jump on your boat, you know. And that's one of the things that happens when you talk to your upline all the time, your coach. You constantly communicate because you're like, look, I'm going to keep talking to them because I need to make sure, I need somebody to help me stay accountable so I can continue to read and listen and do this stuff because I'm trying to get away from my mind being focused on all of the little things in life that's trying to hold me in the opposite direction from where I'm trying to go. Yeah, we can all agree, right? Don't we all have things that want to push us or pull us back in the opposite direction from success? You know, and that's what these not doing this stuff, that's what happens. It makes you easily and quickly fall back. It makes you it makes you say, you know what, let me just take a minute. You know, we've had people tell us this. Let me just take a minute and solve this problem over here, and I'll be back. I promise you I'll be back. They say, I'm gonna get around that team, but just give me a minute because I need to go solve this. And I'm looking at them like, you know, that's a temporary fix. Don't you know that this is the like solution to solving that, like basically for the rest of your life? Everybody can't see that. So as we tell people like, trust, give us 10% of your trust. Hang around that long enough so you can at least see that, you know, that this is your solution. And most of the time when people fall back anyway, they still really don't have a viable solution to fix the problem. You know, they just want to go back and focus on it, you know, focus on it, self-pity. So that's cool. I think what we're going to do is take a quick intermission only because our special guest, y'all know who our special guest is? Oh, y'all don't? Okay. Well, our special guest is going to be on the FaceTime in a few minutes, like at 8:30, which is like 8 minutes from now. So I didn't want to go into anything else before we did that. And I think I'm gonna do like, what you say, Denise? I'll wait. I'll wait. That's that teacher stuff. That teacher talk. No. She did. I think there's some pizza coming. I think she going. Oh, that's what she going to go get. Okay. Is it here or she? Oh, I'm gonna go see it. Oh, never mind. We're just gonna help you with the pizza. It's strong young lads in here. It's strapping young lads in here. We need pizza. LaShonda, here we go. Candlelight dinner. It's getting dark in here. I know. We might go there.
Playing music, playing the piano.
Had a way to come up with some access.
What? The access?
This is Everybody loved it. 1962. Excess. This is reserve. This is our reserve. Chilled. It's been
aged quite well.
It's aged quite well. This one. This is our 1984. It doesn't age as well, but
came from California vineyards.
This one was flown directly out of.
And then you put something random. This one has gold flakes at the bottom.
We don't want that one.
I'm so like, it's actually a Friday night.
I know, right? We're not allowed to have that light.
It's way brighter.
1, 2, 3.
It's self-service. And it's lights up there.
It's 12 of us, 8 seats.
It turned off.
Oh yeah, I was wondering like.
It turned off by itself.
Yeah, like oh, for real. I was around like.
I thought it turned off by itself. Your phone did?
Nah, you good. You good. Like,
If you just need black, at least you got one.
oh, for real.
Bible song. Everybody keep asking me about Cash App.
What is Cash App? We sound like we old.
I know.
The Cash App.
It's called a Cash App.
It's called cash. Like it's Cash App.
Okay.
I never realized it was called.
Oh,
It's
is Square Cash? Oh, I know what Square Cash is.
No, he don't.
It's Square. What are you talking about?
No, it's not the same as Square Up.
It's not the same as Square.
No.
You sure?
Yeah, the Square actually made it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought so. It is.
I didn't know that. Okay.
See, she didn't know. She don't know what she's talking about.
I use Cash App.
I use Venmo because I feel like Venmo is more secure.
Really?
Cash App. I use both, but I prefer.
It is mad dark in here. They need to add more lights in here.
We need to go in there.
Oh, I couldn't get it. No.
The difference is
That's what I'm like.
It's only 8 seats and then
you said the tail of the short.
Huh? I love it in the car. You use Calvin's.
What's that?
Like your charger. You use Calvin. What is it? Some pizza, girl. Huh? You need some pizza? Yeah. You fine. No, you're not. You said school year, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, praise Jesus. Hey, Shonda, can you bring me a water? Please. Because you need to get on hand.
It was like circle cheese.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Circle cheese?
It was a circle and they used it as a rice.
You know, they make it. You put the shredded cheese in the oven, and it forms into a circle, and you make it like cheese tacos and stuff. Mm-hmm. You put it in the oven. Yes, I did it on a. But you got to do it on a non-stick pan, and it flattens out like a pancake.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That would be
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Charlie. This one is bought at 8:30.
I'm gonna be super about it.
Wow.
It's dark in here. What kind of room y'all in? I wonder what they use this room for to have so few lights. It's the room they rent out when all the restaurants build up.
Have one chip, half a wheat chip. Oh, really? I have to get eating right now. I have to get eating right now. I'm still in yard work all morning.
For real. You feel it in your back?
It was 8, but I got some help. My dad came over to help. We were both getting sick by the end. It was just too hot. It was too bad and just like too much fun. They don't want to eat afterwards. I just didn't know. Hydration makes. But it looks pretty.
That's the most important part right now. Has anyone moved next door yet? Has anyone moved next door yet?
But just yesterday was this big trash dump thing showed up. They must be fixing it up. Which is a shame because it was nice, but boy, it's just not good right now.
Too bad you couldn't buy it in a hole in the wall.
Another thing. Buy it with air conditioner. And then eventually when my parents in the same story, transition.
All right, guys, our special guest is ready to call in, but they'll be on the TV up front. Yeah, but that really is too dark in here. I'm quite sure they won't be able to see us.
Playing the quiet storm.
Lord have mercy.
Quiet storm.
Whole bunch of black people in the dark room. They definitely gonna be able to see us.
They're gonna only see Calvin
They're
and
gonna see
Alicia.
my glowworm head.
He said it's getting dark in here. It reminded me of like in Kellum whenever too many black people showed up. They're like, it's getting dark in here.
Are you serious?
Who else? If me and Marquise, James, Alicia stand under each light, we have enough light bouncing off of us to illuminate the room. Light bright. Glowworm.
I'm so mad at your kids in that picture. I'm so mad at your kids. Can you call my phone?
I didn't see this phone.
I think I left it out there in the lobby.
I just saw you just now.
And I'm going to go get the pizza.
It's up there.
Alright.
Our special guest gonna come up on the TV. Up on the TV in the front. I'm thinking.
If y'all need ice, the ice machine down the hall, all the way to the end on the right. If anybody wants soda. I got that nasty lemon excess.
Oh, no,
Hate lemon.
that's the best life
Yes, the best last resort. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
I don't know if I keep telling everybody this. If you mix lemon excess with a little, like take a little bit of lemon excess, a couple of sweet tea.
Yeah, that do taste good.
That kind of sounds
Oh my god. only use for limit.
We say that here.
Like a punishment.
Oh, what? What's Maggie?
Nothing. Really nice though.
I want some chicken avocado so bad. Uh-huh.
Salad cake, though. Cobb salad?
Yeah.
Never Cobb salad.
Yeah, I can eat that. I love Cobb salad. I know. I don't know. I get bread, pasta, with lemon cookies.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob. Hey, I'm trying to see you can see all there you go. That's probably the best I can get it.
None yet.
They said none.
Where are you guys meeting?
We're in the La Quinta Hotel in Richmond, like Midlothian area, right down the street from the DoubleTree.
All right. Well, I'm on Swan Street in Richmond, right near the television tower.
So you should watch your hips here.
My son's 25th birthday party.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we're just finished dinner and cake. I think we're gonna eat whatever cake I didn't eat. How's the audio, Calvin? You guys hear me?
Everybody, y'all can hear, right?
Yeah.
Pretty small room.
All right. Well, very good. Well, I'm glad you guys can get together and have a chance to spend a little time eating pizza. Although I've never met anything to Robert. I think eating must be a DNA part of you guys' culture right there. They say that about bad. You know, we didn't get to let you eat. If you dead people, they wouldn't show up. So there you go. So I had a nice drive up. Traffic was not bad coming up. I came up right around 5 o'clock from Tidewaters. And, you know, it was, I was looking forward to talking to you guys a little briefly tonight. I wanted to keep you on the phone very much. Glad you guys enough to just, you can see where it's all Bob Regina, or even the Taylor team, or even Calvin season. You have to understand that being a part of a team with momentum, you can adopt that momentum and you can use it to help you build your business. Nothing like momentum. I hope you guys all realize, for example, that when we go to the summit, you are talking about this now a lot, that we go to summit, when they get recognized, when Terry Lori or when Terry Lori recognizes New Diamond, we're all going to be on the floor. It'll be the Taylor team, all the Taylor team, sitting on the floor during the New Diamond celebration, participating in the New Diamond celebration together. So that is going to be a mind-blowing.
Yes, Lord. Oh my God.
They're going to be a part. It's going to really raise their belief level. They're going to see that this is a team they want to be a part of. They can believe in. They can commit to. And so, summit for new people, people within their first 12 months of the business, is going to be a significant event. It really will. So I just wanted to let you guys know. You probably heard people allude to that, but it's going to be just fabulous. I can only remember what it's like being in a situation when Terry Lori qualified as LPD Diamond, being a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
That was just awesome. And so all of you are going to get to experience that. You will be in the Coliseum and the nosebleed. You'll be right down there seeing the sweat on their brow. That should be very, very exciting, especially for new people, because you feel something when you're that close to it. You feel like you're a part of it. It's that feeling that really makes it's part of what becoming belonging to a team really means. Is something that you feel as a result of thinking about your involvement, your being important. Too many times for all of you, you wonder, am I really important? Am I just TV to somebody? Am I really important to something that's going to change people's lives? And the answer is yes, but you have to choose it. It's not bestowed on you. It's not assigned to you like an IBM number. You have to choose that. It's funny because this afternoon when I drove up here, I took the opportunity just to re-listen to Developing Leadership by Dean and Marcy Whalen. It's my favorite audio of the last 2 years. I probably listened to it half a dozen times now. And because the thought process there is something that we all have to be reminded of. Because all of us have tendencies of a fixed mindset. For all of you, for many of you, not all of you, but for many of you, they're great when you're around a team, when you're in this event like you are tonight, when you're at an info session or especially a big function, you just really feel a part of something. But when you're at work, around your old friends, or maybe your parents, or maybe some buddies you used to hang out with, or some girls you used to hang out with, it's like we're chameleons. It's like we kind of backslide right into our old way of looking at things and thinking about things, wondering is this really going to work? Because there's a tendency to think, you look at people like Randall Ford and Aaron Hodges, you can look at people and say, well, they just have a gift. The truth is, they don't. They learn by hard work and association everything that they become. And I think as audio, for me, it reminds me how important it is to have a growth mindset. I didn't people can change.
Yes.
When I set up my first personal Facebook page, they had the idea of putting down a theme or something that's really important to you. And the thing I put down, this was many years ago when Facebook first came out, I said was something to the effect of one of the greatest discoveries in my life was that people can change for the better if they choose. And people can change. And this audio, I think, reminds people about that, reminds me about giving to people a Bob, you listen to some of the audios, you should never even have to listen to anything. That's not true. Regina and I have, experiences. We have negative experiences, we have positive experiences, things that happen in our life. Things that maybe we don't react to perfect. We are perfect. Calvin Caesar said that. Harold does. Maybe not the rest. Well, I take it back. Mark East of DC definitely. So, but, we have to refresh ourselves. We have to make personally disciplined and try to keep the water out of
That's a good segue. We appreciate Bob and Regina not only taking the time out to get on the call with us because, like he said his son's birthday party, but also just being able to take the time to. He knows about our meeting today, as he said. The things we plan on talking about. And what he just talked about is a good segue to what we want to continue on. We're talking about the growth mindset. Appreciate Devon and Naya and Shay sharing what they got from that.
Yes,
awesome. But one of the things we'll work around James' head. It's all love, though. But one of the things that I think is the most important is to continue. We talked about those audios. One of the most important things is what Bob was just talking about, continuing. That's why I had this pulled up. Is a lot of us are starting to understand the framework of the process only because we went through it. You know what I mean? Everybody pretty much understands the steps of the MG1, MG2, you know, the info session, you follow up 1, info session 2, follow up 2. People pretty much understand that there's steps that people have to go through. And I think that's so easily learned, but what we have to focus on spending the majority of the time on really is the audios. These audios, by the way, what I have pulled up here, if you haven't seen it before, or it looks kind of foreign, this is the Taylor Group Info website. TaylorGroupInfo.com. The password is Unity. And it's under resources under audios. But these are all of the basically the audios that's coming from Trevor Lexi Baker, and Ina Marcy Whalen. This is something to take, but this is something to take time to study. And something I was telling Bob when these audios first was released, and this is something I'm kind of passing along to y'all because he's kind of like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Is you probably want to spend, if you've been listening to LTD audios, keep listening to LTD audios, but you might want to make a shift a little bit and maybe spend more like 60 to 70% of your time on these and maybe 30 to 40% of your time on LTD. Why? Because LTD, you get success stories, yes you get, but when you get this stuff right here is going to deeply ingrain in you the mindset behind what you're trying to accomplish by taking somebody through the process. You know, because everybody agrees, right, with a little bit of mindset of things they talk about, when you take people through the process, you are not trying to register somebody. Everybody kind of understands that, right? You're not trying to register somebody. It's not like, I think like how Dean says it, it's like you're not trying to, like you're talking to somebody, you're like, yeah, we're going to get you registered, but go through these 6 steps first. No. It's actually a process. We need to see if you qualify to be a part of the team, you know, and that mindset comes from this. You really get the real understanding of, hey, look, people actually do have to qualify. They actually have to show us. They get 6 opportunities to prove to us that they actually want what we have our hands on, you know. And I think getting this mindset ingrained in you helps you gain a little more confidence when you want to do your MG1s, you know, MG2s, you know. It helps you to navigate around when people are throwing stuff back at you when you're doing an MG1. You know, and we'll segue to that in a minute. I want to hear some people talk about, you know, we have some people in the room who've done, recently, have done their very first solo MG1. That is like, so we'll segue to that in a minute, but this, as you're doing your MG1s and MG2s and so forth, it's very important to tap into this resource and like continuously listen to this stuff over and over and over and over again. You got a question?
I mean, it's more of a comment. I really like the real world NPA and UTM tips. Okay. It's so good, guys. Like I had that thing on like a repeat when I felt like I was like in a funk.
Did they change it? Or was like modified? Because it's like longer now. At first they had it in sections for the MG1.
Oh yeah, you might be talking about what was. Yeah, they did. Some of them they did break up a little bit. Yeah.
But so, that one is really good though.
And it helps. Look, they have things from like what she's talking about right here, the real world NPA DTM, the tips. And Then you have, which is some of my favorites, The Networking by Dean and Marcy Whalen, and then The Networking by Trevor Baker. I mean, mindset on how you go about actually what we just talked about earlier, making those connections, doing your MPAs, your UTMs, doing the MG1, because you realize that we say this all the time. Y'all hear this probably like 1,000 times a week, that this business is 98% attitude, right, and 2% mechanics, the technique. So if it's 98% attitude, we want to study the mess out of this stuff, because with that attitude ingrained in us, you can maneuver around the techniques. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a perfect MG1. You don't have to have a perfect MG2. You know, what would constitute as a good MG1 or a good MG2 is that you went in with the right mindset. It's already perfect because you went in with the right mindset. If you go in with the wrong mindset, you know, or you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, that's the only thing that can be a detriment to you doing the MG1. But when you go in there, you like, okay, I know what I'm trying to accomplish. I know what I got my hands on. You know what I mean? I know. We were just talking, the candidates don't never know what you're supposed to be saying across the table. They don't know. They don't have a script in there like saying, oh, well, you didn't ask that question right. They don't, so it's about you going in and saying, okay, regardless if I remember every last single question, you know, I think Harold Marquise, you know, Cesar, we can agree, right, that the first time we did an MG1, we probably missed a question or two.
Or mixing Jakes up. You mix them up.
Like, you know, you might say, I remember saying crazy stuff. You be like, you know, so are you process rooted? You be like, and then you leave and you listen to the audio. You be like, I didn't say that. What did I say? You know, but it's about going in. As long as you go in and saying like, hey, I have something. I need to see if this person qualifies to even begin to get educated on what we have. I'm just here to see if you have the right mindset. You know what I mean? And so when you say that, think about what you just said. I need to make sure somebody has the right mindset. How can you make sure somebody has the right mindset if you don't have the right mindset? So it starts with you actually saying, okay, let me get this stuff ingrained in me. Let me make sure I'm thinking, you know, the right way about what I have. In the business owner mindset that Bob talks about is a development process. It's a development process. It doesn't happen because you were in business for 3 months or 4 months or a year or 2 years. It's a continuous thing. You know what I mean? Out here, we get the diamond. Y'all heard people talk to independent, financial independent, and they're frequent the job. They kind of talk about, man, if I knew it was like this, I would have done it so much faster. It's because when you're still working a job, even though you're pushing yourself into that quadrant, the B quadrant, and your mind is going into the B quadrant, you're still dealing with E quadrant issues because you're still going to work, right? So you're still dealing with E quadrant mindset around you. You're still dealing with E quadrant problems. You know what I mean? I got a paycheck. I got to try to figure out how to do this. You're still dealing with E quadrant stuff, but you're trying to push yourself to the B quadrant. I think the reason why they say that is because it's a total freedom of being in B quadrant when you finally moved over there altogether. Because some of us still straddle, right? All of us in this room still straddle. Our mind is like over here. We got a foot over here in the E quadrant. Some of us are S quadrant. And you trying to get yourself all the way over there. And the only way you can do it is making sure you have the right mindset. That's why we talk about like spending so much time. I'm not saying shut down LTV, you know, audios. I'm not saying like turn off your app. But the point is, yeah, let's do some success audios. You got some favorites you like Martin Nathan? Let's do some Martin Nathan audios, but spend even more time listening to this stuff. There's so much of them in there, and they give you so much great content. So that's the mindset thing, you know, and that'll help you when you're doing your first MG1s, which is we're gonna segue into this. We got, I think, 2 more things we're gonna do before we kind of wrap up.
Babe, one quick thing. So when you're listening to the process audios, what I've noticed is I don't care how many times I listen to it, I always hear something different based on where I am dealing with the process. So when we first started doing MG1s or whatever, it was you were trying to learn, but then once you start doing MG1s, MG2s, all the way to the follow-up 1 and 2, you hear different things, especially for me that Dean and Marcy say that I probably didn't know how to apply at that time. But dealing with people and going through the process with them, it was like, oh, they said that. Oh, it just opens up your mind. So you can never over listen to the process audios. Is what I'm saying.
Especially if you listen to Trevor talk.
Oh God.
I know. Every time you listen to him, he gonna say something different.
He only really says half a word anyway.
The more and more you listen to it, the more more
Yeah.
your ears catch up.
Into
Yes.
exactly, that's true.
Yes.
That's true.
That's
I be getting headaches too, so I be like,
But you're right,
I
Shane.
gotta
That was
slow
that was a
down.
good point. The more you listen to him, your ears do eventually catch up, and you can listen at the speed he's talking,
Yeah, that's true.
and you be like, oh, I heard everything. Let me go back and listen to that again. That was good.
But also, why it's important to listen to those is because each one of us are in different info sessions, and different teams are doing different things. So we've been blessed with, this is outside. This is a process that has been worked on and developed, and these are the people that have mastered this process. This process that we have, and they are giving us direct coaching, like just talking about the story and stuff like that. So that's why it's important to, as our team grows, we want to master it within our team, and then we can eventually, start to teach as we have more experiences, develop more, everything like that, teach different people. But that's why I say, as far as technique, don't listen. When you listen to LTD audios, don't listen to techniques. And they'll even say, look, go back to your coach as far as that is concerned. But I would tell you, don't listen to technique on audio. Listen for mindset. Listen for the reason why. That's how you don't listen. When you don't listen for techniques, you're listening for the reason why somebody's saying something versus what somebody's saying. And talk to your coach about what you're listening to. Don't just order an audio because you heard it in the info session and say, oh, I'm gonna get that, or that just came out, boom, I'm gonna get. It's so easy to just use up credits, and you're like, oh, I could have listened to this, and you could have recommended. Oh, okay. So to stay in constant communication, because I have a habit of just, I got VIPs, so I just scroll through sometimes. I'm like Russian roulette. But I also talk to my coaches about like what would you suggest that we listen to. But yeah, that's exactly the reason why you want to ingrain this, like 70%. Take a whole day and just go through those audios. Say, okay, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm listening to the process audio because I'm about to get ready for the weekend. Everybody out. I want to have this mindset ingrained going into next week. And Monday morning, you pop in another audio, but then at night, listen to these audios. You can separate it like that.
Yeah. Another thing I like to say about these audios is that sometimes like the quality of them might not be the best quality, so it might be hard to like listen to them like driving or something like that. You might not listen to them like far as like sitting down, so you can actually sit and listen and take notes and actually process what they're saying. Versus like an LTV audio that you gotta sit down and take time. At least when you first time listen to them, until you get used to what they're saying, and you might listen to it like in the background or whatever. But when you first time checking them out, I say at least give it a couple of thoughts and just like listen to them by yourself, take notes, whatever the case may be. But at least kind of listen to them less and distract them.
Good point, Casey.
So I thought you were going to talk long enough so I could finish chewing.
No, my bad.
Taking bites. All right. Which, so that segues into the next part because this these audios will help you to do one of the things that is probably an important move and a big move, a great move, I should say, not big move, but a great move as a business owner. When that's starting to do your own MG1s and MG2s. That's an awesome move because once you get there, you're starting to move up. There's levels of ownership in the business. You know what I mean? You take ownership of this business, you should be taking ownership from day one from an aspect of personal development. Personal development, you did that in the 90-day core run. That should probably be the first thing that you attack anyway as far as ownership in your business. I'm going to read on my own. I'm going to listen. I'm going to attend everything. I'm going to be in communication with my coach. You know, man, we'll come to all the events. But you move up to another level of ownership when you start saying, like, you've been out having your conversations. You like, you know what? I'm going to start doing, I'm going to do my own MG1s, And granted, when you're working with a coach, sometimes it's a good thing. Two different things sometimes can happen, and this has happened a couple different ways, is sometimes your coach will kind of let you know, regardless if you think so or not, that you are ready to do your own MG1s. And sometimes you might come and tell your coach you're ready. You know what I mean? But if you ever feel like that, hey, I'm ready to do my own, call your coach and be like, hey, look, I think I'm ready to do my own MG1s, or if you in the case of, which we'll hear from in a second, in the case of people who didn't think they were ready but realized they were, it's still an awesome move to that level of ownership. You know what I mean? Because it'll build your business confidence. It'll build your your business self-image, if you will. So we're gonna hear from 3 awesome business owners in here who have, I think, over the past at least month, a couple weeks probably, have actually all done their first solo MG1s. I'm gonna do this again. I'm not gonna ask anybody to go first. I'll let y'all choose. So we have. Let me check everybody on the list. So yeah, I have Anaya Peters. We got LaShonda Carson, and we have James and Alicia Drake. So whoever wants to go first.
So the good thing about this trio, I just want to say this because when we were talking about this, I noticed it. So Anaya is like still in college. She just turned 20. Oh my God. She just turned 20, and so she's like fresh into getting into like the business world. And then LaShonda, she's 20-ish, and single girl, but in her professional career, she's in mid-level management in her career, so she is just in a different area in her life than Anaya is. And then you have James and Alicia, a married couple, a young married couple, both of them like stellar in their own careers. But so it's just a trifecta of 3 different types of people doing their own MG1s, and their experiences are different yet the same, from what I hear. So just one of the issues. Oh yeah. They're 20-ish, yeah.
So, if y'all can just talk about like your experience prior to doing your first MG1, just like talk about how you felt, your experience, what you were thinking about as you were approaching maybe the day or even driving to that MG1. Kind of tell us how you felt, and then kind of talk about what happened like after the MG1. Because I think nobody's MG1 is perfect, so get into the details of the MG1. You don't necessarily have to unless it's something you want to point out. But I think what we want to really emphasize is how you felt going into that MG1 and how you felt afterwards, after you had actually done it and finished. So, is that whoever want to go first?
So I feel like I have a baby face, so people always don't take me. It's like I feel like they don't take me serious. Then they think that I'm 16. So, when I went to the meeting, I actually put the train there and everything. So the guy, he was like cleric, as Sarah said. Oh yeah, cleric. So he it was like that he thought that he was higher than me or something, and he was asking me questions thinking I'm selling him something, and I said no, I'm not selling you anything. But then basically I just put him, if you want to take a check, but so after he realized that I wasn't selling him anything, and I moved him through the process and stuff, he kind of appreciated it until we Harold met with him later on. But since I am 20, I feel like that I have to dress different and like dress more professionally so people can know that I'm serious about my business. Because they look at me and think that I'm really young and they won't take me serious. Like, what is this girl coming up to me saying and things like that. So that was really my experience, and I'm dealing with that through the whole process now, and I'm learning how to talk to people and be more serious since I am so young.
Did you self-identify yourself as being ready, or did your coach tell you that you were ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Okay.
She was tired of everybody else going on.
Which I love. Oh my God. Yeah.
So, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely saw some growth in Anaya, and I think once she, I heard more of her attitude grow as far as the business side. I'm just like, you got this, like, go ahead and do it. And from day one, I actually told her after the MG2 that I was really proud of her because she had to overcome. She had to get there early before somebody else. And the MG1 that she did was a guy that was 30 years old. Plus.
That's
you know,
not old. I'm just
like, he had seen this already.
Mm-hmm.
seen something like this already. So seen that way.
Right.
But she stayed calm, cool, collected, and on top of that, she called her upline like right after. She called me like right after and was like, "Hey, we had open questions, blah blah blah, this and that." But I took the driver's seat, and she identified like that win. So.
So Anaya, so now, do you feel like you're equipped to do them continuously now? You can do your own.
Yeah, I do.
Did you feel like that? How did you feel before when you was actually
I
going
was
to do
kind
it?
of nervous, and then after how that went, it was really like because of like something that she went through with her first one. It was like hard. So you were like, okay, I feel like I can do anything after this.
So you survived grandma.
I think hers was
It's coming, Shay. It's coming, Shay. I survived grandma.
next audio.
Okay. All right, who wanna go next?
Okay, well, we did not bring you ready. When we were on the phone and they were how it season, I'm like, so we went in. I was really nervous. The air wasn't working in the car, so we were sweating.
Duplication.
And so it kind of felt more like connecting with the long-term friend that I had seen before versus someone that I didn't even know.
I was nervous, so the day before I listened to the Dean and Martha Willing Network, and I listened to the process audio, the long one from Dirk and Laura, and the Trevor Baker.
Good Lord, you was
He was cramming. He was cramming, wasn't he?
Cram session.
Cram session.
And we just thought about how Marquise and Danny, how they had done hours before. And so James would ask a question, and then I was going to give you the answer that we had because we had seen Marquise do that before. And I was trying to keep it just like how they did it. But I try not to get flustered when it went a little different. We had different conversations, different people, different answers.
Okay, so you said afterwards you were like, cause y'all called us and Marquise and Zisha afterwards. Y'all were a little more than excited. Y'all like. So that was a big difference, huh, between going in and doing it. What made you like excited after the fact you did it? What would you say like happened for you to come out of it and be like, oh my God, you know?
It went so well. It was like so smooth. And, like she was super appreciative that we met with her. She said that she had been praying for an opportunity, like right when we contacted her. Back here a while ago, and then circled back, and then got to meet him. And then she said right when she had been praying for an opportunity to come. And then that's when
And I think that's what we talked about earlier. The important thing is that with that, you know, being their first one, there was somebody who was already looking for opportunity regardless of what they did. You know, but
what made you? Can I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
What made you circle back to her?
well, I was going to see her Tuesday because she's in film as well, and so I just came up with a conversation.
Okay.
But I think
And I hope it helped.
Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say, I was listening to y'all talk like after y'all were finished, you know, versus when y'all were about to go do it. It was like a totally different. Y'all were like, I don't know, it's like seeing somebody getting on a roller coaster and like they in that line, you know, and you don't want to get on the roller coaster for real. And you watching the roller coaster do all this stuff, you like, oh no, you know. But because they were silent on the phone when we called them, we were like,
It was like, hello?
we thought the line dropped. He's like, so look, so y'all ready to do y'all MG1s, right? Hello. But no, I think because what you realize, right, is after you do it, you like it's not as big of a deal as you thought it was. You know, which you do more. You know, y'all gonna do. Y'all already say y'all ready to do. Y'all, what did they say? What did they say, Marquise? They ready
over the world.
Exactly. Exactly.
I said, are y'all ready to do y'all next one? They said, we ready to take over the world. I was like, oh shoot, okay.
And it's contagious. Like Alicia's like, we ready to do another. That's how you feel when you come out of doing it. And just like, I can do another one. Yeah, it's contagious.
Okay, all right. I guess last but not least.
So I guess leading up to, well, sort of backstory, I've gotten tremendous support from my upline and crossline along the way, and I made some big decisions in terms of my career and my second job that kind of freed me up a little bit. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, how many MG1s did I view like before? And it was Pat, Ronnie, and then that was it. And so I hadn't had as many MG1s that I needed to have in order to have things going and have all the practice. But soon as my last day at my second job, I was making a lot of conversations, booked an MG1, and fast forward, it's a year now. They're like, yeah, so you're ready. I was like, all right. Because honestly, I don't know. I mean, I could guess that I'm ready, but I really don't know until they tell me. So, like, I ask you guys what I know more than what I think I know. If that makes sense. I'm always like, so, I don't know. Is this a good audio for me? Because I ask them what I think a lot in this business because I know my world, and I don't know this business world, and I don't know, whether somebody, even I can get an impression about somebody, and then I'll tell them about the conversation, and I'm like, you tell me what that means, because they know and I don't, and I don't think I'm to that point to be able to do that. So I want to learn how they think so that I can better take that on and pass it down. So my first MG1, I've been listening to the Nina Marcy Whalen audios, part 1, part 2, process mindset, on point, all day. The Whalens and Rortwalls are my favorite. So I've been listening to their, I know I can wake up in the morning, get dressed, get ready, go out to work, and be by Lansdowne High School by the time that audio ends. Like, that's how often I listen to it. And I definitely wanted to focus on their mindset conversation about the MG1 and MG2 before my MG1. Because I was thinking, okay, I don't want to mess this up. I felt like I was ready, but now I'm about to do it. Now I feel like, maybe, am I ready? Am I going to mess this up? Am I not going to say the right thing? But I just had to remind myself that why am I nervous? I already won. I'm already the one with access to all of this. It's, they can say no, they can cuss me out, but I'm good. Like, doors open for me. So I reminded myself of that listening to that audio because it's a lot about posture and mindset and just connecting with somebody. And this is a person that I knew briefly, had been away for 2 years, and walked back in the office, and I just, it would be fun to also catch up with this person. So sitting down with her, she was immediately about business. She was not trying to, like, in my head, I had it mapped out. We're going to connect, and then we're going to talk about these topics. It's going to be this conversation. I was like, how's your child? Oh, yeah, she's good. What is this?
Oh, man. Really?
This is just a conversation. This is just a conversation. We're not really going into a lot of details today. So I set the framework of what I expected the conversation to go. She kept trying to push it. She's a lawyer, so she was hammering questions on the what? Hammering them. And I'd be like, ooh. I was trying to dive. only because I listened to those audios, I felt comfortable enough, not ignoring her, but like addressing it and then ushering her back to the purpose of the conversation. Back to, do you know passive and so yeah, after it was done, I was excited about doing more because to me, I don't have any. I don't care if she gets it or not. It was practice, you know. I just don't have any weight on whatever she decides. I want her to book another one because I really want to practice another MG2, but you know, practice.
I think the most important thing she just talked about is, I think a lot of what we've been hearing, and Harold, you can agree to this, right? I think a lot of times when you hear people talk about doing their own MG1s, the thing they think is, I need to see more MG1s. They kind of like, let me see another one. Let me see another one. Let me see you do one more. That's not what makes you qualified to do an MG1. What makes you qualified to do an MG1 is you got the mindset. So even if you've only physically seen 2 of them, you know, that's not the point. The point is she was listening to the audios during the times where she couldn't make an MG1 we did for her, or she couldn't, you know, a MG1 felt anything. You know, it wasn't that she was physically there to see all of them. It was like, hey, I was seeing 2, and that happened months ago. You know, it was that during that time frame, you were growing your mindset. And I think that's what the most important thing is when we keep talking about this 98% attitude. Doing the MG1, you can look at it, it's still an attitude thing, even though it's a mechanic to it. But if you get your attitude right, get the mindset right, please, yeah, you'll be ready to do an MG1. You know, and we just want to talk about this because you had people who were ready, maybe a little more ready to do an MG1. You had people who were, you know, kind of like maybe on the fence. Then you had people who were just like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all crazy. We ain't ready to do an MG1. But it's because you see people invested in themselves so much. You know what I mean? You kind of like, no, you know, we know how that feels. And you guys, right now, you know how it feels to get to that level of ownership. When you're doing your own MG1, you kind of like you said, I want to go do another one now. You know, I like what you said. I know what I got. It's like, Harold talks about this all the time, like being part of like a fraternity or something. It's like, you got to think like, I'm already on the team. You trying to get on this team. You know what I mean? So I got the upper hand, really. I'm in the driver's seat. You know, I made the squad. You know what I mean? So you trying to get on the squad I've already, you know, joined up with. So that's huge. And moving forward as you do, one of the most important things you can do as far as doing an MG1, because it's really 3 things you can probably do after that, is number 1, Harold talked about it a second ago, finish your MG1, talk to your coach. Get on the phone with your coach. You know, and Anaya said Harold said Anaya did that, LaShonda did it, James and Alicia did it. Hop on the phone and talk about your experience. You know, talk about the things that you learned from it. You know, some things you maybe thought you wanted to do different. What did you pick up from what you did? You know, what did you learn from how the candidate responded? Just talk about your experience. You know, that's the best first thing you can do. The second best thing you can do is go back and listen to the audios. You know, and if y'all listen, Bob talks about this all the time. You know what I mean? You finish your MG1, pop the audio back in. You know what I mean? Maybe that happens in reverse if you can't get your upline or your coach, your coach on the phone first. Maybe you get in the car and you pop back in the audio. The audio where they talk about the MG1 and stuff. Listen to it again. You know what I mean? It's fresh because you just did it, and it helps you to listen to it immediately right after that. You know, and the third best thing you can do is do another one. So it's like a wash, rinse, and repeat, right? You do an MG1, call your coach, listen to the audio, do an MG1. Listen to the audio, call your coach. You know, you just repeat the cycle. You know, and that's what I think grows and strengthens you to strengthens your mindset to be able to go and get better at doing your MG1s. Because you'll never, just remember this, even when you start coaching people, you like, people will never get better at doing an MG1 from continuously watching you do an MG1. We learned that the hard way because, well, I'm not going to get into all that, but we weren't always building business this way, but when we started doing MG1s, we had to learn, like, it doesn't happen that way. You know, you have to actually do it. Doing is learning. You start applying, that's how you learn quicker. You know, so I don't know, anything y'all want to add to that?
I just want to say, but number one, if you can't get in touch with a coach, also on the message app, there's a feature called voicemail. So you can record a voicemail even if you can't get in touch with the coach. Like I voicemail these two all the time.
Every day.
But it's because I don't think they know exactly what's going on. It's so much so many moving parts, so much is going on, and I can't always get on the phone. But yeah, record a voicemail, and then sometimes if you can record the interview one for yourself, just so you hear yourself like that. Maybe I could have said that differently. Or send that message to your coach if they're not there. And that's something that I would recommend. Because sometimes like you have the direct feeling of after you did the MG1, you're like, damn, I want to call them and talk to them, and they may be, these two, they going platinum and one down, so they got business all over the country. So record that voicemail and then get it right off your chest and then send it up, and then you good.
I will say too, if you pass like the rookie stage, like we do it now, sometimes when the MG1 doesn't go quite like we expected, we just get perspective from Bob and Regina. Like we'll call them really quick. Just because we've been doing them doesn't mean we don't still need coaching every now and then. And we'll call them like, hey, this MG1 happened. It doesn't go the same as, did I do this wrong? But we tell them what our concerns are. So even if you out there and you've gotten some under your belt, every now and then you feel like, I got to make this call because something didn't go right with that. And just to get another perspective.
Yeah. You just want to stay in a place where you're relatable to people, but you know what you're looking for. Ask Harold. We can get into a mode where you get so bulldog focused that you you just all of a sudden people don't qualify for some of the craziest reasons.
They got a red socks.
not that crazy, but people won't qualify because I'm trying to find like this narrow lane of people, and if you step outside this narrow lane of people, pooh, peace. And sometimes we've talked to Bob and he's been like, it's what you probably heard Dirk talk about is grace with standards, right? Sometimes that even then your coach can help you kind of come back in like you can have a little more grace with them. That's not how to because you so much like look, because you have people that'll tell you one thing and do another, right? Have y'all had people do that in life all the time?
That was loud.
So look, I guess you'll even have people go through a process and buy a ticket to a conference and don't even come to the conference. I don't know why you would do that, but
Had to wait. No, you got no
Whoa.
But no, so you always talk to your coach to keep you just to keep you level headed, because it's not so much that you maybe need to learn more. Sometimes it's just you got into a place where you just you almost overly attacking it that you almost losing the grace aspect of it, because there is a grace aspect you have with it. You gotta stay relatable. We people, we not like interviewing. This ain't what's Donald Trump's show he had?
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice. so anyway, but
I think that's my favorite part about this process as well is you really making a decision amongst your environmental. Like you're constantly talking to them about, hey, what do you guys think about this person that's going through the process of that? That's why you want to communicate with that one. Most important, because you went through a process with your sorority, but everybody had a say in, whether they wanted to choose you or not. Correct? So that's like my favorite part is adding people to this fraternity, if you will, or this group of inclusive but exclusive group. We want to dialogue and banter back and forth about people that are going through the process.
Yeah. So okay, I think that I don't know. It's people here that. Well, I said I should have retracted something I said earlier about people that's not here, but it's some people that couldn't make it here because of work. I know Eric was on one of them. Lamont was one of them. A couple people that couldn't make it here because of that extenuating circumstances. But in any case, I know there's people who haven't started doing their own MG1s yet, and if that's a thing for you, if you feel like I want to start doing my own MG1s, talk to your coach, and your coach can tell you either. Don't feel bad if your coach was telling you something like, I guess I'm talking because people on webcast too, but y'all say hi to webcast real quick. I keep forgetting But yeah, if you don't feel bad if your coach tells you like, hey, let's do a couple more, or something. Or when they say just do a couple more, they probably really tell you, yeah, you probably need to go listen to these audios. But just if you stay in the audios, really, because we do want to help you be in the best position to win. So ingrain yourself in the audios. Get to the point, hey, you'll find out doing the MG1. And actually, I'm gonna tell you something ahead of time. If you thinking like, okay, so can I do MG2s now? MG2s are easier than MG1s.
Exactly.
If you can do an MG1, you can do an MG2. MG2 ain't nothing but going through. You just reconnecting with them. The easiest part is you've already made a connection on the MG1. Now you're just actually going through some information.
They
already read the book, so they set up. And if they didn't read the book, that's even easier. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, look, we good. You ain't gonna waste my time. I'm about to go meet somebody else. You know what I mean? You still can have grace with them, find out why they didn't read the book, whatever. But but it's easier. It's easier to do. So if you can do an MG1, maybe you want to do a couple more. Maybe you do want to see your coach do at least one MG2 for you if they haven't. If you haven't seen it already. But you can do an MG2. It's pretty simple. So
I got one important thing. Marquise, is she still alive?
Oh, the girl.
I think so.
We can't say.
She got abducted.
Yeah, she in the black hole. I don't know where she at, man.
Winston on a conference.
Yeah, she bought a conference ticket.
She was supposed to be at their house at a certain time.
She just didn't show up.
I'm going to the store.
Okay. You want to make sure she's still alive.
Check the papers or milk carton?
Audio cutters back?
All right, so I guess the last two things we're gonna do. The next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna turn this over to Harold. Oh, y'all wanna do another
door prize?
Door prize.
Yes.
Another 619.
7 to 10. Huh?
One more. Oh. 617. I can let you already waiting and I was here.
No, the one prize we should pick.
That was rigged.
623? No.
That is me.
I'm losing faith. Why you not going to pick? No,
What'd you get? Pass that on. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this over to Harold Edmonds. Give Harold Edmonds a hand. One of the greatest servers of our time. One of the greatest leaders of our time. A leader amongst leaders. He's an IBO's IBO.
The illustrious.
The illustrious. The exuberant.
A man of God.
A man.
We're doing conference. Okay, so
team meeting
and conference.
Okay, so association is one of the non-first steps. So essentially, first reason why you should go is because it's going to make it easier for you to accomplish your goals that you want to accomplish. The reason first, okay, so we have a team meeting that's in Richmond. You know the details?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at the Hyatt.
At the Hyatt Place Innsbruck is where we had our team meeting in March.
Okay.
But we'll send out the details. But it's on Saturday, August the 25th, from 2 to 5 p.m.
So for us as
And
a
it's,
team,
I'm sorry, it's Coleman team, Margaret team, and Cole team.
awesome.
Okay.
So the Coleman team, Margaret team, Gold team, as a group, you want to accomplish. They say you want to grow from conference to conference, but I will tell you a secret. If you can grow from month to month, event to event, you'll have a better sense of where you're going. So essentially, our play is +1, which we'll probably go over in a minute. But our so thing is team meeting. We got a group of about 12, and some on the webcast, some that are not here. I believe wholeheartedly that for the Roberts team that's growing, we can +1 going into team meeting. Some people are already in the process, ready to already promoted to going to the team meeting, already have committed to going to team meeting, and they haven't even gotten registered yet. So just for that, you know, some of us may have an opportunity to be a 310 at the team meeting. Some of us may, and you may be on a team that has an opportunity to be a 310, and that's way more important, I think, than somebody actually going, because a team, you start to develop. If you see platinum teams, they develop these habits of playing for the bigger team. So platinum goes platinum because more than likely that their upline is going emerald or diamond, you know, or they want to be an example that help a wave coming. As the Roberts team, we want to set up the Roberts to go platinum. In order to do that, we have to be focused on incremental growth. So strategic, why you should go, for one, it'll help you in your mindset. Okay, it'll be training basics, but also for a bigger synopsis, you want to grow from month to month instead of from conference to conference. That's 3 months. You say, okay, I'm gonna add 1 in 3 months. Nah, you want to add 1 by the next event, by the next team meeting, by the next event like fall leadership or something like that. So, where you're gonna learn there is phenomenal. Like, you're gonna learn the basics of the business. You're gonna learn how to grow the business. You're gonna come out of there like empowered to go and build your business and be a business owner. And also, you guys are a great example. So we want you guys to be teaching other people. Some of the newer people that's coming through, they need examples of people that have just did their first MG1, or somebody that just went 300, or accomplished 5150. Tyler, right? Just accomplished.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Promotion. Which is 1,000.
Yes, yes.
Somebody
yes.
do 1,000.
Yes.
And we have the whole, this is exciting. We have the whole month to put the Roberts team, Coleman team on the map. Saying, hey, before we had 12 people out in Richmond, and we just came in the Richmond with 50 people, or 40 people, or even 25. Even if we add 1 on the entire team, if there's 12 here and then there's 13 or 14 there, we did some work. Mm-hmm. Going into the month on a positive note. And also, you know, if you want to hit another bracket, if you want to get recognized, and that's a good place to get recognized. And also to develop your business on incremental scale. Now, Summit, ball game. That's the enchilada of events. That's when, I mean, see, the thing is, which I don't understand is, like, just being new, LTD, first of all, LTD as a whole hasn't broken a diamond in about 3 years. So LTD is already, like, Larry Winters is on, like, you ever haven't done something in a while and then you finally get a chance to do it and he's like, yeah, I'm going to cherish this. I'm telling you now, Larry is going all out for this conference because we haven't had one break in the last year. And also, with Terry Taylor, we recognize him. So you're going to have a whole microcosm of things that's going on. Waves that are breaking, and Manny and Candace will more than likely start diamond qualification, that event. You have 2 diamonds that are about to break. Tesla Mintes, and you have Dirk Memorial, who's on our team. So you have the world, like I told Shay and all of us, and I and Eric said, y'all don't understand how much of a difference this will make in your business. So let's go back to the team meeting. If you can bring a couple people to the team meeting, let's say we got the rest of the month, or we got the whole month of August, that'll set you up for the end of September. Then you got all of September to bring somebody new. So if you sit here today by yourself, you can have a team of 5 at Summit. If you put the work in, you help other people sponsor you, help other people get out of their comfort zone. So your group of 5 can help your upline have a group of 15, 20, you know, and that can set you up for platinum qualification in the next year. Just that conference alone. Just being, think about it. Your team is going to get recognized because you're going to be in the pit. Like, you're going to be sitting there right beside the carpet, and your team is going to be there too. So the whole feeling around it, you're going to be engulfed with 20,000 people around you. Your new person going to look up like, wow, like all of this. So if you have a good business mind, work all August to have somebody with you at the team meeting, and then work all September to have another person there with you and help that person have one. So that kind of sets us up for the next segment, which is +1, basically. Our game plan as a team to help the Roberts team start platinum qualification. And let me tell you, our team is too elite to be second fiddle to anybody. Our team is too elite. You guys are too elite to not think highly of your team to break down barriers. A team goes platinum. You don't go platinum by yourself. Like, a team hits goals and hits paradigms. We can start a wave with just us. Just us doing the daily habits, getting out of our comfort zone, focus on a bigger team. We can set our team up to really, like, Calvin Shooter, their mindset is on not just going platinum, but breaking platinum. That's our team. That's our team motto. We're not going platinum, we're breaking platinum. So, in a sense, use these months, use these next months, use these next events to set yourself up to go platinum in the next fiscal year. Or the end of this year. You never know. Like, all of you have everything at your disposal. I'm excited for you. Woo. Let me go. You go?
You good.
Okay. Calvin season, I definitely, like, I'm excited. We have to grow in order to help Calvin season accomplish the goal that they set out to accomplish. They're already platinum. But we have to grow, so it's just not them going platinum. It's them. What would y'all like better as a Roberts team? Would you like Calvin season to be platinum and then our team just fizzle out? Or would you rather have Calvin season and platinum qualification, James and Alicia 6 months down the line and platinum qualification, Marquise and Denicia Roberts, the Stevenson team in platinum qualification? So teams are like, wow, like, what? They got all those platinums on a cover team? And that's just a trend on our team. You're the nucleus of that. And what you do for your team, your bigger team, and when you think about a bigger team, don't just think about your upline, think about everybody that's sitting around the table. Think about people that's on webcam. You're doing this for your squad. You earned mentorship. You're doing this for the coaching people. If you heard what Bob said, he needs somebody to go platinum. Not only that, we need to break platinums. We need a 20-year-old platinum. We need a couple that don't have kids of platinum. That's a teacher and a media specialist. We need a hard-working young man and, you know, the gym and, you know what I mean, working at Dick's Sporting Goods. We need you to go platinum. We need your story. We need Denicia and Marquise to go platinum. We need a LaShawna Carson. We need your background to go platinum. And you all have the capabilities to go platinum. You've already proven that. Most of us have already gotten out of our comfort zone to have a conversation, right? Everybody had a conversation, right? DTM, right? There you go. You can go back. So let's get it. First one.
Okay, we're gonna do the last door prize. This door prize back here. Door prize bag.
That's your one. Wait, that was 619. Oh, okay. 622.
That's you? I don't know.
You can
Do I
look.
do another one?
Yeah.
Just pick the one you want.
626.
Bingo. Oh.
You gonna be doing any more? Door prize?
We can. I mean, it's a bag full. I'm trying to send you the email.
618.
Hey.
Best thing is your odds are going up.
No matter where you go back.
621.
Oh, wake up.
I'll trade you both of these for
Yeah, it's a twin.
What's that? Oh, pre-wax. My clothes are different bottles.
They're like, I'm gonna use this TV.
How much TV is
The
that?
pre-wash is good.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Make sure y'all get free TV though. 6 cases of excess. That's free TV.
Yes.
You get one free.
Cindy?
Oh, we do it.
Able to buy, even if it's like your own thing for like a big event, like a race. You supply excess for it. You partner with us.
That's what you call you.
For big events, you may want to contact them. For anybody. Okay. I did it. I was just curious. I was like, what does it cost to? Okay.
This will be our last topic.
We know beaches.
You might need to take like the final.
You said a final, like that's gonna be the.
That's all you
I
get.
know. It came out a little bit. Did y'all hear it? The alter ego. Did y'all hear it come out a little bit?
What does he call it? What's the name?
Only you. We got.
So Harold talked a little bit about going into the team meeting next month, 25th. Rowell talked about is when you set a goal, the goal is not always meant for you to hit it, but sometimes you look at it and say, I wouldn't have done the work that it takes to hit that goal if I never had the goal in the first place. So sometimes you set a goal so you can put the work in motion. You can have enough conversations, enough UPAs, enough DTMs, and NG1s to hit the goal. You know, and that's the stuff you can control. So what I'm telling you is this